My name is Alan Habert, and I am a disability rights activist, but as well as a climate change activist. And as we are gathered in Harare and at the convening of the PAMOJA Critical Minerals Alliance, I would want to bring this point close home for all the countries that are working within PAMOJA and all the governments within the African context, and ask ourselves a critical question. The world has 1.5 billion persons with disabilities, and that biggest majority is on the African continent. And these disabilities are partly caused by the harms of mining minerals, that is the soil degradation, the rampant rainfalls and torrential rainfalls that we are experiencing on the continent currently. But when we talk about just movements and just transitions, when it comes to the matter of critical mining minerals, the person with a disability is forgotten and often left behind. I want to take you on a journey and ask you who is watching right now to think about how you reference disability in your local language. And that word that you just thought about isn't empowering in any way. And that disempowering language has taken the dignity of persons with disabilities and has impeded them as people who do not belong, who do not need to access anything good in their lives. And as we're talking about these just transitions, we need to unshackle ourselves from such thinking and center persons with disabilities in these conversations, because one, we are a part of the communities where these minerals are mined, and even some of us own the land where these minerals are being taken. So if we are not going to include persons with disabilities in the conversation around critical minerals, how and who benefits from all of this, then we believe, or I believe, that we'll be doing a disservice to a demographic that partly votes, that pays taxes, and that is important in the building of our nations across Africa.
I come from Goromonzi district in Mash East province. I think the problem that we are facing in Goromonzi pertaining lithium mining is the issue of water abstraction. This company that is operating in Goromonzi, Prospect Lithium Zimbabwe, when we talk of lithium production itself, it's water intensive. It requires a lot of water. So the company is using the existing water sources that we are using as a community, especially in agricultural activities. So there's now competition for this precious liquid water. So what we want is Goromonzi community. We want these companies to construct their own dams to do water harvesting, so that as women we don't face water scarcity. Because we are spending a lot of time looking for water to do household chores, especially in Goromonzi Ward 25. With this company that has started operating around 2023, Shengxiang mine. The company has diverted the whole river, Nora River, for their own use. What about the people downstream who want to use the same water source? So finally there's now unfair practice towards the issue of water. If you look at water itself, water is life. We use water for agricultural purposes. We have animals that also use the same water source. And another problem that we are facing in Goromonzi is the issue of deforestation. The company is not planting a lot of trees, like when they are doing open cast mining. Pavanotema miti yakawanda, they are not replacing them. At the end of the day, we used to have these trees like mishanji trees that we used to have. As women, it was part of our livelihoods. We used to harvest these mishanji and sell to Rua market, even market in Harare. It was another source of income for us as a Goromonzi community, for us as women. So at the end of the day, there must be a balance between mining, agriculture, because when it comes to employment, as women, we are not given equal opportunities as men, especially when it comes to employment.
My name is Ndalama Walia. I'm coming from Zambia. I'm a student at the Copperbelt University. I am also a trained monitor for women's rights against mining violations. You know, as a young woman that's staying on the Copperbelt, I have firsthand experienced some of the challenges that we face because we are not getting the accountability, the transparency that we require from the mining sector. So this is one of the issues that we're talking about, where we need a lot of inclusivity for youths and young women into the mining sector. So one typical experience I can give is like when we are on the fields, we hear a lot of women complaining about how they're not included in policy making and decision making. So we need that platform for us youths and the women to put our input, push for policy reformations. And sexual harassment has become, I think it's now becoming a global issue because a lot of Chinese people have come into these industries. And you find that women really don't have quite enough resources for them to sustain themselves. So even if they do face violence, sexual violence, domestic violence, most of them can't even report it. They go back to them because they rely on those people for income because they do not have the resources. And aside from that, sometimes it could not even be the sexual violence, but it is an increase in the number of sex workers that we have in mining operations. And it is sad to say that we have people young as 12, young as 13 also engaging in such works in the mining areas because of the little resources that are provided for the women in those communities. They lack the skills, they lack the empowerment, so it seems like it's the last thing they have to resort to, which is very, very unfortunate.
My name is Nilza Zakao. I'm from Mozambique. I work in the EMD, Multi-Party Democracy Institute, and I work as an energy transition advisor there in the institute, and we are trying to push all the parts to the same table to work together, because we know that Mozambique and Africa needs to develop, still need to development, and we think that we can do it, and we are trying to make a roadmap to make it maybe in 30 years, and starting now to introduce this to all the stakeholders, parliamentarians, communities, universities, and civil society.
Good morning. My name is Toussaint Kafarire Murula. I'm a Jesuit priest. I come from the Democratic Republic of Congo, where I live and work in Lubumbashi. I run the Jesuit social center called Harare Center for Research and Training, Centre Harare pour la Recherche et la Formation. I'm also a scholar, a university professor, and for the time being I am serving Africa as the president of the African Studies Association of Africa. So all of these questions that we are discussing about critical minerals in Africa, they concern very, very highly the church, but they also concern academia, because we need to produce a discourse that is consonant with the needs of our people, our communities, and at the same time continue to weigh in, on the decision-making processes that are affecting not only the present but also the future and the future generation of Africans. So from that perspective, I can say that as a church member, as a church leader, what we really, really want to emphasize is to bring God into the conversation. We cannot forget that the world, the universe has been given to us, entrusted actually to us, to sustain our livelihood. But the way we see, the conversation or even the exploitation of the resources is going, it simply shows there is really a dominance of a worldview coming from the West, of course, and the whole rhetoric about development that is unending, But when it is uncontrolled, we know that we are depleting the resources, and we are not taking care of, how justice should be distributed within the human community. So Africa should not simply be a victim. Africa should also benefit from all of these, resources, especially our people who are crying out, dying every day, and paying the brunt of this rush for what is left. Minerals.